Hello, good people. You are welcome to another inspiring episode of the Youth Arena Show. God with us, Emmanuel, oh Emmanuel. Hello, wonderful people. You are welcome to another inspiring episode of the Youth Arena Show. My name is Sanctified Akko, and today on the show, we'll be discussing the topic youth and human trafficking. Nigeria is a source, transit and destination country for women and children subjected to trafficking in persons, including forced labor and forced prostitution. U.S. State Department's Office to Monitor and Combat Trafficking in Persons placed the country in the Tier 2 watch list in 2017. We have with us today Barrister Mrs. Faith D.K. Ocha. She's the founder of My Gender, My Pride initiative. She's an educationist and a human rights activist. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here with us.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you for having me.
Yes, so what stirred up this passion in you for women, for children, against human trafficking?
When you say against human trafficking, you actually being restrictive. So, but I do feel I have the passion for the girl child to, generally not just human trafficking, the welfare of the child is actually what I am particular about. That's what my initiative is all about, the welfare of the child, especially the female gender.
Yes. You know, when you talk about especially the female gender, that's what excites the woman, and that's what makes men feel like, what about us?
No, you're covered.
Yeah, they are covered.
They are covered because you can't see a boy child being ill-treated and look away. You must do something in that regard. Yeah.
Okay, please, could you kindly educate our youths on what trafficking really means?
Okay, thank you for that question. The literal explanation of trafficking is when someone is dealing or trading in something that is illegal, anything that is not legal, you're dealing in it, you're trading in it. So that's just trafficking. Now, when you talk of human, now you now bring it to the to humanity, to human beings. When you're dealing or trading with human beings in a way that is illegal, of course, trading, you can't even trade a person. So the real sense of the word trafficking, human trafficking, is an illegal transaction. Wow. So that's what it is.
I think it's a business without conscience, you know, trade your fellow human being. But what could be the cause of that? Someone trading his fellow human. What could be the causes of?
The principal cause is greed.
Okay.
Yes, covetousness.
Okay.
Lack of satisfaction.
Okay.
So the desire to get more. You have already, you want to get more. And then as the time unfolds, you begin to have a heart that is hardened. So you could actually now stop dealing with goods. You proceed to humans. So the major thing is greed. That's the major thing that leads to human trafficking. Now, on the aspect of those that are being trafficked, the major thing that can lead to that is poverty. Poverty can lead to human trafficking for the victims, though. Now, also, inability to access human rights, especially still for the poor and the vulnerable. Because if somebody has say a child that is being taken forcefully or taken in the guise of having a greener pasture somewhere, and you have access to your right in case what you're being told is what you're going to get at the end of the day is not there. You have access to your right because you have finance or you have connection. Maybe this would have died a natural death. So poverty is a problem. Greed is a problem. Inability to access your right is a problem. and so many other factors.
Well, I'm just trying to imagine what kind of profit do you want to make from a human that you feel you can make from a good or a service?
They actually make more profit. They make profit more than people dealing in goods and services.
Okay.
Yes, because human beings are in the most glorified thing, in quotes, on the surface of the earth. So when they take them, it's a human being that will do house chores for you. It's a human being that will give birth to children for you. It's a human being that can reason, that can take initiative without you having to give direction at every point in time. So that's actually the reason why they prefer humans to inanimate objects or goods. Yeah.
Okay, before I ask you, like, these people who buy, what do they use them for? Let's proceed. What are some of the forms of human trafficking?
Okay. Human trafficking come in various forms. That question is a very beautiful one. So that we need to understand that it's not just one-sided. Human trafficking can come in the form of sex trafficking.
Okay.
Now, I'll break it down when I get to the point. Now, it can also come in the form of, what is it called? Organ trafficking. You know, sex, when you traffic somebody for sex, that's to use the person, to let the person get into prostitution and make money for you. That's a different thing. Now, the organ trafficking part has to do with getting people just to harvest their organs.
Oh my God.
It is rampant in the country now and most parts of the world, where people are being taken, sometimes in the disguise of giving them a better life, so they willingly go with you. Some other times it can come in the guise of kidnap or abduction against the person's consent now. So they take the person, forcefully tie them up, inject them and all that, and then harvest organs like liver, kidney, the heart, and all that. So that's we have that one. We also have the form of slavery and servitude, getting somebody to do more of, to be what's that animal that does so much work?
Horse or a jackal.
A jackal. Yes, to use the person as an animal, doing work for you.
Oh my God.
Day in, day out, no
like
rest.
A slave.
Like a slave, slavery and servitude, which the Constitution actually is against. So those are the forms it can come in various forms, but at least these are the major ones we see: the sex part, the organ trafficking part, the slavery part, and servitude, to use them as slaves.
So for instance, this those who are being trafficked for sexual purposes and then for slavery and servitude, shouldn't it be something that, let's say, if you're transferred from, let's say, Nigeria to Gabon or somewhere, shouldn't it be something that you can just easily look for somewhere and someone and say, I'm in trouble, I didn't bargain for this?
If it were to be that easy, so many people will willingly go. After, when I get there, I will find my way. But unfortunately, these persons that take them over are in control of whatever documentation that will keep them there. So what they do is, when they get to that point or that country or that environment, they take all their documents, take all their papers, and will not release it until they have fulfilled the bargain. Sometimes they could tell the person, because we've taken care of your visa, we've taken care of your paperwork, your international passport and all that. Now, you have arrived. Initially, they told them you're coming to do maybe a sales girl or you're coming to do this or that. Now, when they get over there, they discover that this is not what, I want to go. You can't go because your documents are with them. So it will not be, and they also have people who will mandate you to do their will. They beat them, they torture them to the point that they submit. So it's not easy for them to just live like that. And when they go over, it's not easy.
Wow, it's just so demeaning to know that such kind of thing still exists in this world today.
It's getting worse by the day. It's getting worse.
Who are the victims of human trafficking?
Anybody can be a victim. Anybody at all. But if you ask me who are the victim, I would say the woman and the girl child. They are mostly hit. Why are they mostly hit? Because it is majorly them that have to procreate. They're the ones that carry these babies. They're the ones that are more useful domestically. Yes, so the major people who are into this problem, women and children. The woman, the girl child, there's a thin line that separates both, and then the child. So these are the major persons that go through this process a whole lot.
Okay, this question just came up and I really want to ask it because I know of someone who said that she has somebody abroad who is volunteering to help her come over. And looks like it's from a very good will. How do you identify when this might be a trap? Is there a way to identify that, okay, this might actually be a trap?
Yes, there are, even though sometimes it all appears to be so real and so genuine, especially if the person who is calling you over is a relative or a friend of a relative. So most times it's actually difficult to separate. But you must ask yourself a question. If, for instance, as a lawyer, someone is asking me to come abroad to do one or two things, I should be able to make verifications as to where I'm going to, what I'm going to be doing there. But that's why I said, remember, the major problem is poverty. Maybe I could actually do this and do these verifications because I've been enlightened and because I am not so in a hurry to have a better life. I'm okay the way I am. Now, but for that child, that poverty-stricken child coming from that bush village who suddenly sees like, I'm going to America, or like, seriously, I'm going to be in Canada. So they don't, the mentality is not as smart, as sharp as that person who has been enlightened or who is lettered, in quote. So if you ask me if it's possible to verify, it's actually possible. That is, if that girl child goes the extra mile to do this verification by asking the right questions. Not directly from the people involved now, but people that, for instance, if you tell me I'm going to Canada, that girl should be like, okay, what are the processes involved in going to Canada? Am I going there to school? If I'm going there to school, I don't even have my O level. Before I even travel abroad, there's a requirement that for me to study abroad, I must have at least O level. Let's say you're not furthering higher institutions and all that. Now, okay, am I going there for as a skilled worker? Now, you're telling you're going to be there as a skilled worker, and you know you cannot even plait hair.
Or they tell you house girl.
You're going there as a house girl. Where am I going to? Which people am I going to meet? So it can be verified. But they usually choose their victims wisely. They are smart. They can't walk into your house and say, let's take your daughter abroad. You will tell them no. But they can walk into the house of that woman in the village who has been selling pancanel for the past 15 years. And she will willingly let go. There are options. There are ways you can verify. But because I say they choose their victims wisely, those verifications doesn't really come to play. Yes.
Okay. Wow, thank you so much. Now, another question is, what is even the assurance of having a better life when you leave the country?
The future is unsure, is uncertain. That's the problem. That's why I will still refer back to what I said originally. Because they are so in a hurry to have a better life. So they feel that once you step out, that's it. Money grow on trees. We'll pluck it and we'll come home. There is no assurance. The youths need to know there is no assurance. You can be in Nigeria here. You're drinking garri today. Tomorrow, the God of heaven can change your situation. Anything can happen in a twinkling of an eye, and you begin to eat rice. So there is no assurance per se that you are going to get a better lease of life there. So the best thing to do is to do the needful, do what you have to do at that time. Grow is a process. Making money is a process. Nobody just wakes up and money is all over, except to go for rituals or anything that is not normal. So if you must make money, follow it one step at a time. Some persons are in the villages and they are millionaires. Sending money to their brothers and sisters in the city.
It's true.
It's happening in my place. So it's not about going abroad. Where you are at a moment, take your time. There is no better life anyway.
And learn to use the opportunities, no matter how little around.
No matter how little. And during time doing the fruits, orange fruit is in season. Sell oranges. The major thing we need in life is food, shelter, and clothing. Every other thing is an added, is an added extra. So if you can, from selling oranges, put food on the table, pluck oranges and sell. People are far in the Benue villages in Benue, and they are transporting oranges and fruits to those of us in Abuja here, and they are making money while in the village.
Wow. So dear youths, there is no country in the world where money grows on trees. And there is no assurance that if you leave the country today, you're going to be happier tomorrow. As a matter of fact, you stand a very high chance of risks of several things that you do not even know about. You know, I learned of a story of a young girl who was coerced, you know, by a relative, went abroad, and the business she was doing was, you know, there are some people who are almost mental, and they derive pleasure in somebody taking in their feces, and they pay heavily. So this was what this girl went out and was forced to do. Her mouth became a sockaway. And then this white man, it's horrible, very horrible. This white man will actually pull in her mouth just to earn dollars. And, you know, so there is no guarantee anywhere. Where you are with love and family is okay for you. Look for the opportunities around you and grow. If it was so easy, as I always like to say, if it was so rosy, the person referring you would refer his brother or his sister.
His entire village.
Yes, will not come to you. You know, a stranger just walks up to you and tells you, life can be better. Come, let me take you abroad. Take your mother and your sisters out first. You know, so dear youths, you have to wisen up and shine your eyes. Shine your eyes. You know, we found a lot of dead bodies and parts have been taken out, you know, and it's just, it's such a
heartbreaking.
pathetic, yes. What does the Nigerian constitution say about human trafficking?
Okay. Section 34, I hope I'm getting the section right now, made an express provision. It stated that no person shall be subjected to any inhuman or degrading treatment. It talked about the aspect of slavery. It talked of servitude. It talked of forceful labor. It is a creation of status. It's there. So Nigerian constitution totally is against it. It's totally against it. That was why the government in 2003 rather, decided to go a step further, to create an agency that would be so in charge. When the issue became rampant, people were being trafficked, it was becoming an everyday affair. So the government, in their wisdom, thought about having an agency which is solely dedicated for that purpose. That was the bet, that brought about the bet of NAPTIP. Okay? Because there needs to be an agency to follow up that part of the constitution that talked about that. So Nigerian constitution, if you ask me, is totally against human trafficking.
Okay, so what are some of the ways that this can be prevented? You know, apart from NAPTIP, how can human trafficking be prevented?
Okay. As I always say, when I'm asked a question that is open-ended, I usually say, evil will never come to an end. But prevention, there could be steps taken to prevent, which is the right question to ask. So now, if you ask me the steps to be taken, I would say, if the government can create jobs, why are they going out in the first place? It's to have a better life. If the person has everything, basic necessities of life now, I'm not talking of cars, luxury, I'm not talking of designer wares, I'm talking of food, shelter and clothing, education. I don't think everybody, the number of persons, yes. So if the government can create job, a lot of youths are out of school. They are doing nothing. So criminality is on the rise. And on account of that girl child who actually is not so strong-hearted like their male counterparts, now tend to go into, once they tell them, they are quick to accept. So if the government can create job, now if the government can do proper sensitization through the media, is another aspect. Let them, just like some time ago, I knew that Wala Denuga Production did a program on NAPTIP, on human trafficking, and it went wide. And by popular demand, they repeated it again, one of their super story concepts and all that. So if the government can create these jobs, if they can sensitize the youth, if they can make the basic necessities of life available, the responsibility is more on the shoulder of the government. Even though we as human beings, as mothers, we need to keep talking, as human rights activists need to keep talking and still trying to enforce these vulnerable people's rights. But the government can go a step further. Let education be available. Let that girl even understand that before I travel abroad to do anything, I should have certification. So that the girl will ask questions. If that relative is coming, you're going abroad to become a doctor, and you're like, you don't have O level, you're going to become a doctor. So having gone to school, the child will know it's not true. Something is wrong. Now, if the education is there, food is there. At least a child can afford 3 square meals. If a Nigerian can eat 3 times a day,
it doesn't have a challenge.
That's it.
It's true. Nigerians are naturally happy people. We're
very happy. We create the joy for ourselves. So these are the things I feel government
can you mention some agencies that help to fight against human trafficking in Nigeria?
The major one by the creation of status is NAPTIP.
Okay.
National Agency for Prohibition of Trafficking Persons or so. So that is the major one. Now, there's all those other like human rights can come to play. You know, human rights is a body. Human Rights Commission, is a body. So that can come to play too to assist. We have agencies like social welfare. They are also there under those umbrella. They can come to assist. And of course, the normal police, the police, the force, is also a body that can assist. And then we, in this level, as mothers, as mentors, can also come together to. So, but the major agency is NAPTIP. They're the main body in charge.
So, what can be done for these people who are not so enlightened to know about this, about human trafficking? How can we help them?
I said earlier, if there can be proper sensitization, if awareness can be created that these things are just like what you're doing now.
Yes.
Thousands of youths might be watching you at this point.
Yes.
So those of them that don't even know that, maybe some of them are already, their papers are even ready. Yes. Just by this program now, they will think, I don't want to go again.
Yes.
So if we can do this, even at the grassroots level, the churches can talk about it.
Yes.
The churches should just stop talking about righteousness and holiness and rapture. It's there. Now, we can talk about these things.
Real issues.
Yes. The mosque, the government body, non-governmental organizations like mine, My Gender, My Pride, we'll talk about it. We'll gather these girls, we'll talk about it. So they are even aware, as little as a 6-year-old, can know that these parts of your body are very important. Yes. And so when somebody is trying to do some certain things, it is wrong. So we can talk about it. The most we can do is to talk about it. As individuals, why the government do the major work of it. Then if God has blessed you with funds, you could actually from your own pocket also create these jobs and get these girls in.
To reduce the level of
reduce the level,
Yes, and there's something I want to ask, just in case there's somebody watching and maybe has already fallen victim somewhere in some part of Nigeria or somewhere even outside the country. How can they find their way back? How can they find help? Because, you know, sometimes it's so difficult to access help. Or what are some of the ways that they can access help? Okay.
If you're still in Nigeria, you've been used or you're being used and you get to hear this, or maybe the child that is being used is not listening, but somebody is listening.
Around, yes.
We can walk into a NAPTIP office. They are everywhere. Everywhere in every state, they have offices. Now you walk in, once you lay your complaint, that is one agency I see that they are very smart. They are very quick to react to issues. I've had a couple of cases I went to NAPTIP for, a couple of them. I can't mention them. There are many. So you can walk into a NAPTIP office and get this thing sorted out. Now, if you cannot access NAPTIP wherever you are, you can walk into a police station. They are there. They will listen to you. And if you feel you're not getting answers the way, you can look out for Human Rights Commission. There are so many avenues you can use. Now, there are also so many NGOs, non-governmental organizations that are into this, trying to, of course, they won't know until you have spoken, until they can't just walk into anybody's house and say, is there anybody being trafficked here?
Yes.
So you need to look out for people that would help you. You can look for a lawyer. If you can't afford to pay a lawyer, the government have made provision for people that can't pay lawyers. Yes. They have pro bono lawyers. Sometimes we do pro bono work. I'm a pro bono lawyer too, most times. So we do these things for them and get it sorted out. So the help is available. Just seek for it. You can't find it if you don't seek. Yes.
What of those abroad?
Yeah, those abroad. There are agencies abroad now. The NAPTIP agency is also abroad. Hope you are aware. They have offices.
You know, something else that
even our embassies.
Is that maybe they feel like if they go and report, maybe they'll be put in jail. Is there anything as such consequence? You go up, let's say you're trafficked abroad. If you report or you try to find help, would you further fall into a deeper trouble? If it's abroad, the most they can do is to hand you over to your embassy abroad. Okay. They'll bring you home. The most that can happen, the worst that can happen is that you come home. Okay. Which is not even is the best at this point. Yes. You will come home, they will bring you home, they will put you in an airplane and bring you back home and take you your people will come to their office and pick you up. Okay. Now, but these children or these girls or these boys have been so traumatized that they don't even want to speak up.
let them speak up. If you can find a way to, even if it's not Nigerian embassy over there, any embassy you rush into and say, or you get into and say, this is what I am passing through, they will hold on to you.
Yes.
They will bring you home. Nobody is putting you in jail.
Yes, okay.
You are a victim of circumstance, for Christ's sake. You didn't find yourself abroad to go and traffic, to go and be trafficked rather. You were taken abroad for greener pasture, and you just ended up being in a room.
Yes.
Into getting into prostitution and all.
Different people come.
It's so unfortunate. We don't want to. It's not. Don't even imagine it. I've had a couple of cases that made me shed tears. It's not. It's better not imagined. Yeah.
So, do we have legal personnel that are willing to help people who have been human trafficked?
1,001 of them.
Okay.
I said there are pro bono lawyers everywhere. Pro bono lawyers are lawyers who accept briefs without intention of getting something in return. They are not being paid. There are pro bono lawyers everywhere. There are NGOs everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, so there are lawyers everywhere who are willing to assist you. Okay. That's the question you asked, if you're able to.
Yes, but we've been hearing about these lawyers, but sometimes they still ask you to pay. And then talking about NAPTIP, sometimes I feel like, as a lawyer, you have quite a privilege. But maybe for an ordinary person, they might not get that quick response that they might get.
There's a body called the legal aid.
Okay.
It's a creation of our Nigerian system, created the legal aid.
Okay.
The legal aid is actually, they are lawyers, is a body that have lawyers. Now, what they normally do is that they represent people who cannot, one of their functions though, representing people who cannot pay for the services of lawyers. That is why, under our constitution, especially if you're being charged under the criminal aspect of our law, if you are not in court with a lawyer, the judge will ask you, should the state provide a lawyer for you?
Okay.
That lawyer they are providing for, you're not paying for the service. So most of it's from the legal aid that those lawyers come from. Okay. Now, I also say there are pro bono lawyers everywhere.
Okay. And
I also say that I, for one, I'm just saying because I'm so sure, I am a pro bono lawyer. So I have a couple of cases we are treating on a pro bono basis, or basis rather. So we don't collect a dime.
Okay.
We'll get it sorted out. So cases like this, they should look out for pro bono law. If they can ask questions. They can ask for where can they get a legal aid office. Yes. When they walk into the legal aid, they don't pay for it. It's free.
Okay, so where are some of these offices in Nigeria here?
They're in Abuja, they're in all the states.
Okay.
Thank God this this season of internet, you can just Google and then addresses appear for you.
Okay.
It's everywhere. Just use your internet, is everywhere. Legal aid office in Abuja, for instance, is there. Okay.
So what steps have the government taken so far in curbing human trafficking? And what are the other things that you feel that they can do?
We've actually stated this earlier, that the government had succeeded in creating this body, this agency, NAPTIP. Okay. Because they have seen that part of the constitution that talked about slavery and servitude need to be taken care of. So they needed a body that would give assistance, that would know that this is what we are called to do. Yeah. If you walk into NAPTIP in Wuse too, you will see they are busy. The lawyers, they are busy. The officers, they are busy. Okay. You see people trooping in and they are really doing a great work. They are doing. I've been there a couple of times and I was wowed by the level of intelligence, the level of expertise that they put into getting these things done. They can trace you to your village and get the perpetrator of this injustice sorted out. Not just about sex now. The aspect of a child who is supposed to be in school being used as a slave at home, why the madam or the August children are in school. That child is in the kitchen mopping the floor, but they are selling oranges. Clean? No. NAPTIP will not have it. So NAPTIP is there, and the government have also gone a step further in giving informations. Sometimes when you just tune on your TV, you just hear about it. People are so some persons so this kind of a thing exists. They hear it from the media, and now if you say the areas they can improve, those are the areas I said if they can go a step further in creating jobs, in making the basic necessities of life available, like food, shelter, and clothing, making education within reach for every child, then definitely everything will turn out fine. It will not be 100% correct, because evil will continue to the end of time. Yes. But Nigeria will no longer be, say it's recorded as the second tier. Can you imagine? We've gotten to that point because of this, our indolence, and would still feel it's not important. So,
there are people who are in villages, rural areas, cannot really access legal aid. They can. And TV, radio is out for them. What can they do? Or people around, how can people around help them?
If you say those of them in the interior villages, both of us know that Nigeria is a land of signs and wonders. It's a funny, it's a funny place. But I feel there is a local government office in every place.
Yes.
But the problem we are having is that we are not even sincere to ourselves. If a child now walk into the local government and seek for help, the help might not be readily available.
Yes.
So it now boils down to those of us that are enlightened, those of us that have means to see how we can help. If we need to do mission works, maybe we should come in and start as individuals to start doing these mission works in the villages, because just like you said, they can't access TV. They don't have. They are always in the bush, either fetching water or cutting firewood and all that. So sincerely, I wouldn't know what to say we'll do in that regard.
Okay.
Especially in those areas they can access this. But I do know that there's a local government office in every environment, as far as it's in this country.
Yes.
So maybe they should walk into the local government office and get this thing sorted out.
And moreover, you know, they are picked from the village and taken to the city. So there's high possibility of you finding help in the city where you are taken to.
Than the village, right?
Because they are hardly situations, but they could be funny situations.
When an old man is marrying a 12-year-old, those are the kind of situations. Forced marriage is also trafficking. It's a form of trafficking.
Yes. So what would be your advice to youths who are seeking income and are considering human trafficking as a means of earning income, either as giving themselves over to be trafficked or are trying to get people to sell off?
Nothing good will ever come from evil. Good and bad are poles apart. There are two parallel lines that will never meet. So though the gratification or the happiness, I don't want to use joy, can be there for a while, especially for those of them who are so determined to get into we're even talking about this trafficking thing. We're just looking at the part that everybody who has been taken abroad is a victim. Some of them, they knew what they were going into at the time they went into it. So they are now there. After a while, you have made some money, you are calling the girls at home, back home. Are you like, seriously, I'm a big girl now and all that? It can last for a moment. It can only last for a moment. So if you're going into, if a youth is thinking of going into it, or already into it and is enjoying it, nothing good can ever come out from bad. You can enjoy it for a while, but have you thought of the end point, the sicknesses, the diseases? Have you talked about your conscience, the dangers? You might go 20 times and be free. The 21st time, you will not come back.
Yes, because someone who knows, because the customers, especially for prostitution, they know that these girls are trafficked. So someone who knows that you are here not by your will and then still sleeps with you can kill you. Yes. He can kill you. So
because he knows that you can't do anything about it.
Yes. It's already such a
And the person who brought you would want to protect his or her trade. So
we look for somewhere to throw you off.
You're gone forever. So that's where you now end. Your life will just end like that.
Nobody will even trace
for
you.
The pleasure of a moment. So my advice would be, find what is, just like you said earlier, what is around you. Yes. What is it you have in your hands? Yes. That was the question God asked Moses. What was it you had? He said, I have a rod. Say, use it. So what is it you have? You might not have education, but you might have a hoe or a cutlass. You might not have bags of rice to sell in a warehouse.
You have a creative hand that can make fine hair.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Yes.
Those are the things. So you can even have orange tree by your back. I keep using oranges because I know oranges are always there. And people always look for oranges.
Yes.
So there must be something. Look around you. Look at your environment. Get busy. Before you know what is happening, you might be thinking, just like yesterday I started and today this is where I am. Nothing good will ever come out from evil.
Look around you. Look at what you have and get busy. Whatever your hands finds to do, do them right. I know the Bible says that He will always bless the work of your hands. He will. If you take the right trade and you do it sincerely, He will bless. It's a promise from God. He will bless the work of your hand. Who wants to die like a dog and cannot even be traced? Nobody wants to. So think before you take that dangerous step. All right. Thank you so much, Ma, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so grateful, and you've so enlightened us. There are some areas I did not even consider, and you just opened up. Thank you so much.
God bless
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
So, all right, viewers, we'll take a very quick break, and when we return, we'll meet our artists for the week. Stay tuned.
Now streaming now analyzing, now assessing, now discussing, now sharing your thoughts on everything and every issue that affects you. ACNN is now streaming, discusses the issues trending and the matters that matter to us all. Join us every Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. on ACNN as we go in depth into every issue that impacts our lives, our communities, and our country.
Hello viewers, you're welcome back, and in case you're just joining, this is the Youth Arena Show and we're on to the Artist of the Week segment. Our artist for the week is a gospel minstrel, a mother, a mentor to many. She's Minstrel Eunice Morgan. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We are honored and we are glad that you came.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Could you tell us a little about yourself?
Okay, my name is Eunice Morgan, the wife of Minister Chris Morgan. I am an entrepreneur.
Okay.
I'm a gospel music minister.
Okay.
I'm a mother of 3. I have 2 boys and a girl. Yes, that's me.
Wow, looking all sweet 16.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And what has been your beautiful moments as a gospel minister?
The most beautiful moment as a gospel music minister, actually, if I can point, was sometimes, which actually marked my turning point, actually, when I was much younger. Back then in Otukpo, I was invited to minister in the church. Basically, I'm actually born and brought up in Assemblies of God. Okay, so usually we don't go out. Okay. We don't go out to other events and other denominations as such. So I found myself later on in the mass choir, which one of my friends actually invited me, and I became a member. So from there, we had opportunities and we go out. So one of the days, I was invited for a program that was happening in one of the churches there. Specifically, a single splash is a program for the singles. Okay. They talk about relationship and marriages and all that. And we young people, we love things like that. Exactly. So, you have a lot of young people in that kind of an event. And I found myself in that program one of the days, and I was much younger then. So I saw so many other persons having, opportunities to do their songs, music, special numbers, it were. Yes. Okay, so now we call it music ministrations and all that, but then it used to be special numbers, so a lot of persons were doing special numbers and all that. So I called one of the ushers and I was like, it wasn't my church, so I wasn't used to the place. And I was like, if I write my name, will I be given the opportunity to do a special number? And she was like, yes. So I eventually wrote my name, and as God will have it, I was called upon for my special number. I think that was one of the very beautiful moments of my life in this journey so far, and it's also a turning point for me, because when eventually I was called to do my special number, I came out and I did my thing, as God will have it. And then at the end of the program, immediately I came down and the pastor, mounted the pulpit. He just picked the mic and he was like, hey, who was that girl who just sang, Then it used to be Eunice Ejoga,
Okay.
Then, so I was like, and he quickly said, okay, please make sure you wait to see me after the service. So for me, that was the most beautiful moment.
Just to know that you're recognized.
Honestly. And I waited, I saw him, and he was like, wow, where have you been, and all that. So the rest is history. Yes. So for me, it was a turning point, and it was one of the most beautiful moments.
It encouraged you and made you to see what you have.
Exactly.
And don't worry, before you leave, you give us a special number.
It's all right, special number.
Yes.
Okay, I will.
Yes. So how do you draw inspirations for the beautiful music that you do?
Well, from my place of study, place of meditation and prayers, most of my songs, I actually get them while meditating. you know, in that state. Before I knew it, I'll just be hearing a song in my spirit, and the next thing, I always like to voice it out. Yes, and then from that's actually how I get my songs.
Okay. I know one thing about music is, especially when it comes to productions, you know, you keep going around studios trying to find out that one that is just meant for you. Yes, you know, and if for me also, like I've tried, do here, do here, do here. This kind is noisy. Is this? Is that? Is this? Is that? Before you met your husband, did you find that studio that was convenient for you, and you just okay, this one I like this one?
No, not really. Anyway, before I met my husband, I only had the opportunity of doing just one song in the studio, you know, and it happened then. There is this group of guys, they call them the Friends. There were 3 of them. They are very close, they are singers, and one of them had a studio, you know, and from my little singing in the mass choir, one day he gave me an offer and he was like, Eunice, come to my studio, let me do a song for you. I think that was the only studio production I ever did before I met my husband anyway. But I was very active in the choir, I was doing a lot of singing and all that. Yes, but it was after on I started going, visiting studios more.
Okay, and I know there's Apples of Gold.
Yes,
music studio. Yes, which is doing tremendously well.
Exactly.
So I know you're not having that issue right now.
No.
Yes, and talking about your new song, the sound quality is just so, so good.
Thank
you, and thanks to Chris Morgan for doing what he does and producing good music.
Thank you.
Yes. So there are challenges that young artists face. And I know that you faced those challenges at some point. Could you just give a word of encouragement as to how you went through those challenges and how you came out of them?
Okay, well, one of the challenges usually is being able to actually get your songs out there.
Yes.
You know, sometimes we music ministers, most especially upcoming, we have our songs, we have some of those songs we've already recorded, we've produced, and it just tends not to be cutting across as we actually desire to. It becomes a challenge or a concern most of the times. You want your song out there, of course. You want everybody to know your songs. You want your songs to be heard on the street and all that. So, but basically what I would say to anyone who is having this kind of concern is for you not to give up no matter what. Because even the big names we're hearing now, the big artists, you know, in quote, that we are hearing now, all passed through this process.
Yes.
You know, they had these processes and this experiences also growing up. There was a time like that, they struggled all through these phases, but they never gave up. Because I'm very sure if they have given up along the line, they wouldn't have seen the light they are seeing today. So the most important thing is for you to keep at it, keep doing what you're doing, do the little you can. God is the one who promotes and announces.
Yes.
But there is also a quarter that we can play as human. So why don't you do your part and leave the rest for God?
The rest to God.
Your part in the place of prayer, your part in your little pushing.
Yes.
You know, let's plant and allow God to water.
Powerful.
Okay. Yes.
Do your best, leave the rest to God. And so we also have Caleb Audu in the studio, and is going to be playing the keyboard as Mama Morgan ministers to us. Please, Ma, do us your new song, Emmanuel.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Caleb, for joining me here. Okay. God with us. parted the Red Sea. There is nothing you cannot do. Emmanuel, oh Emmanuel. You answer when I call, and you hear me when I cry. Emmanuel, oh Emmanuel, 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 oh Emmanuel, Emmanuel, God with us, God with us, Emmanuel, oh Emmanuel.
Thank you so much for pulling down the presence of
Thank
God here in the
you.
studio.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are grateful. Thank you, Aldo Caleb.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mama, for
Thank
coming.
you.
And this is where and how we draw the curtain for today on the Youth Arena show. Thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your week, and don't forget to love your neighbor as you love yourself. And so until we meet again, same station, same time next week, continually, intentionally, be your brother's keeper. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Bye.